So firstly, we're back here. Just how's everything gone since you've got back?
Yeah, well, we haven't been back for a long time. Obviously we didn't travel back till Thursday, so we had a full day in Sweden on the the Thursday, and we flew back late Thursday night, and then the players had Wednesday off, and we trained Saturday, Sunday, prepared Monday, prepared. So yeah, nothing's really changed, to be honest. We knew what their strengths were, we knew what their weaknesses were. In the one game, they both come to fruition. What we worked on to try and score a goal against them was directly off the training ground, and we knew, and they scored a couple of goals from what we knew was their danger area. So nothing, it was exactly as we've seen it, exactly how it possibly could have played out, and it was they were a very good team.
You know now, before you knew before, but seeing it in action against
Yeah.
them, you know what they're going to try and do. You know
Yeah.
where their strengths are. Is it now just a case of just working on that to the best you can?
Yeah, I think it is. Like I said, nothing's really changed because we worked all last week on exactly the same things. So nothing. We're not going with any sort of different game plan or anything different. They have not done anything different to what we thought they would have done. I think the compounding factor is that they've got very, very good attacking players. The midfield three and the front three. With the front three, they made 3 substitutes and changed the whole front three with 70 minutes away in Häcken, and they replaced them with other internationals. You look at it from left to right. The lads played lots of games for Ajax. The other one's a Macedonian international, and the other one's I think he's a Ghanaian international, and then they replace him with a Tunisian international. And a very, very good Swedish under 21 player. And then Kamara is another international as well. So they've obviously got good forward players, but that's the way they are. But we thought we would have a good opportunity to score a goal there, and we did. And so we've kept ourselves in the tie as much as it's going to be very, very tough. But it's if we can get the first goal, then who knows what will happen. But the always big problem's going to be keeping them out the other end, because if you look at them historically, they score a lot of goals. Scored another 4 the weekend again, which I've watched the game back, and they played exactly the same way as they have played. So and they've got good players.
How do you approach a game when you know you've got to score 3 goals to win the game at least?
Yeah.
How do you kind of go about setting up for the game? Do you just go out to attack, or how do you make the balance between?
You just got to try and make sure we score the first goal, whether that's in the first minute or the last minute, and then go from there. Really, that's the important bit. It's not we haven't got to go out gun ho and score in the first minute. I think we score a goal in the last minute, and we're asking a question still. We can't go out there and then all of a sudden be 2, 3, 4 down. Look, that could happen anyway. We don't plan it like that. We didn't plan last week to be 2 down in 12 minutes. Far from it. But obviously the quality of the team and the quality of the players, then sometimes there's that little thing that people forget. You can put all your plans in place, but there's an opposition you're playing against and some very, very good players.
Your side showed though a lot of resilience last week. It really was a game of 2 halves. The first half conceding early, but the second half to not concede, to have a lot of chances as well. Connor Roberts made a lot of saves towards the end, but it showed that they learned what they were from the first half.
Yeah, it did. We changed it a little bit in the second half. We changed a couple of tactical tweaks, but I think the lads have got to take 100% of the credit, because it was quite easy when you go 2-0 down and then to then buckle and throw the towel in. It's certainly one thing we showed, our resilience, or our togetherness, or digging in really tough periods and really tough time, working for each other. And I think it's one thing that it's something that pleased us no end. I think we could have been a little bit better in possession, but again, you're talking about players that are it was a high octane game. They were closing it down. They started really, really well, and they put under pressure, and they were relentless. So like I said in other interviews, the length of time I've been involved with European football through TNS and through Connors-Key, they were the best that I've seen or played against or been involved with, as in the quality, the intensity, the aggressive nature of wanting to score goals as well. We've played lots of teams in my time that have been very good in possession of the ball, but not really wanting to hurt you. They're quite happy to keep the ball to pass you to death. but they had the the quality, the technique, but also had the cutting edge as well.
You said before the game that you just wanted to be in it when it came to the home leg, and obviously that goal from Declan McManus, you are one in it, especially coming here where you have been so good.
Yeah, that's the strange bit about it. As much as I think it felt a lot more uncomfortable on the night, I've watched the game back a couple of times, and yes, Connor's made a few great saves, and we've had blocks, etc., but I think you always feel 10 times worse when you're on the side, and we're really struggling to get over our own half in some stages, but it was always going to be like that. I think anyone who doesn't know football, or is ignorant or deluded, then they'll understand that it was always going to be a really, really tough game. You look at the strengths that they've got, and players that play in the centre midfield that have played for Torino and Serie A, Feyenoord, Ajax, Norway, Sweden. Yes, we're not talking about these huge European leagues, Spain, Premier League, Italy, where we are in Gustafsson, played in Serie A. So we are talking about not just good players, we're talking about international players, not elite level, but the one below elite level, and probably the equivalent to the top end of the Championship, bottom end of the Premier League in England.
And the way it's fell, obviously it's a very tough draw, but you've got the home leg, and we know how good you are here. Won every league game here. Must be just a bit of a boost to the players as well, knowing that confidence that they have being here.
Yeah, look, it's not an easy place to come. We historically, overall, we've got a very good record here. I think the only time we haven't hugely competed in Europe was it against the Croatian champions. I think did they win 6-0 here, and that was I think 17-18. So I think it was then. I'd left by then, but I think that's the only time through before me, after me, in between that the club in general hasn't competed at home. I've had some fantastic results before and after me, so it's something the lads are comfortable at home. The pitch plays a little bit different, whether it's dry or whether it's wet, so there's obviously no sprinklers here, so we're relying on Mother Nature to hopefully be dry and the pitch be sticky and slow, so they can't pass it around as quick as what they did. But like I said, we're dealing with very, very good players, and let's not be, disillusioned that we're not talking about top level players, but we're talking about the next level down, of really good players that have played at a very good level.
Any injury updates? How's Josh Daniels? Obviously he had
Yeah, JD's fine. It's just he's had a couple of stitches. He's been fine. We've been managing one or two. Declan McManus has a ongoing problem, so we're managing his training load, and he had injection a couple of weeks ago, etc. So we'll have to see how he is on the day. But apart from that, we're good. But that's been an ongoing thing with Deck. It's been since pre-season really. So yeah, it's managing his training minutes and managing his actual game minutes, and and hopefully he's doing a lot of work off the pitch, a lot of his own stuff to strengthen and fill in himself, and Tom the sports scientist, the fitness guy, the sports scientist and the conditioning coach are working as hard as what they can with him, and Deck's working as hard as what he can to try and get himself fit for match days. So yeah, apart from that, then we're good. We obviously took a lot over the legs, and physically and mentally, because it's a very, very tough game. It's been a long time since I think that most them players have played to a level of that intensity, both with and out the ball, both physically and mentally. So yeah, we're looking forward to the game tomorrow.
Perfect, brilliant, thank you.
Hi Craig.
Yeah.
You speak about the quality of BK Häcken, so do you think that puts a lot less pressure on your players, or do you still have a certain aspect of an expectation from them?
Yeah, there's still an expectation, because I don't think anyone can expect more than what I do and what the players do of themselves. Yes, they are very good players, but there's you see week in, week out football across the world, mismatch in games. You look at say how good Man City are, playing against teams at the bottom end of the Premier League, and it's no excuse to just go, well, we'll just throw the towel in and they should win, etc. It's up to us as coach and staff, and up to players to put a plan together to try to give ourselves the best opportunity, and then for the players to execute it. So it's not just one, it's not what you would call a freebie, far from it. We genuinely believe that with 2-goal deficit and we score first, it's game on. So they have had a busy schedule. They played Saturday. They played us on the Wednesday. They played the Saturday before that. They got a game next Saturday as well. So they you know, that's the downside of being in season, that they've got league games, and I think they're back top in the league, I think, now. So they're obviously competing to finish top again. So they've got pressure on a couple of fronts where we haven't started our domestic league yet. We can concentrate 100% on playing in European football, which is the positive.
And that goal from Declan Magnus as well, is that important from a mentality side for players, knowing that they can find a way through Häcken as well?
Yeah, it is massively, because like I said, you know, we planned that. It was completely off the training ground. The way where we thought we could get in, the movement beforehand, the pattern of play to get to where we got to, and then obviously Deck was at the end of it to finish it off, you know, which was a great finish. You know, Jordan Williams done fantastic work. We felt we could find a bit of weakness down that side with Jordan getting a 1v1 against their right side centre back. You know, and probably coincidentally, their manager took their right side centre back off early in the second half, because I think he recognised that, we'd recognised that that was a possible weakness. So, you know, but they're bringing on more internationals again, all across the pitch. You know, it's the lad that's getting taken off, the Norwegian international lad that's coming on to the international. You know, so it is tough, but again, we've got a clear game plan, how we think we can expose their you know, very small weaknesses, in how we can try and contain their strengths.
And you speak about the research you did into that first game, and for where you don't want to set up differently to the game in Sweden, but is there anything that you did learn from that game that you would do differently going into tomorrow? Yeah,
look, there's a couple of things, you know, hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it, you know, but as in a whole, then no, because you look at it arguably, you know, I still think, looking back, the third goal's offside. You know, no matter what anyone tell me, I don't think the VR camera is direct in line. You know, you see it on the Premier League, don't you, where they put a line along, and he's offside. It's just the VR camera, because there wasn't a camera every 10 yards like there is in the Champions League sort of knockout rounds and at these big grounds. That, but for me, he's definitely offside. So then that's one goal, and the lad scored a fantastic finish, the first one, a bit fortuitous with the rebound. You know, but the second goal is something that we've worked on all week to try and stop that area, as they get into that area of the cutback where they get their two midfielders in there, and they scored another goal at the weekend exactly the same. It's stuff we presented to the players, stuff we've worked on in training, but you know, you can do that. It's just sometimes the quality of players, timings and abilities, and you know, turnovers and counter attacks, and you know, sometimes at some point we're going to be open. We can't play the whole game with 11 men behind the ball, so there's going to be opportunities for them to, with the quality they've got, they pick them opportunities.
Yeah, and just a final one for me. Before the players step out onto a pitch tomorrow, what's that final message to them going into the game?
I think they've got to have the same attitude as what they had last week. You know, leave everything on the pitch. You proved the second half that with a bit of luck, a bit of fortune, a fantastic defensive and goalkeeper display, that we can keep a clean sheet over a 45-minute period, and then we'll work backwards from there. So if we can get into half time with a clean sheet, then we'll have a plan B to move into the second half. But I think the timing of the game, you know, probably gave us a boost of morale, that, you know, they scored early on, but then we managed to see them out the last, you know, what was it, scored in the 30th minute, the third goal, something like that. So the last 60 minutes of the game, we've managed to keep a clean sheet. You've got to spin the positives as much as what you can, and we've managed to do that. Yes, the first 30 minutes we conceded 3, but the 60 minutes of the second half, we managed to keep them out. And if we get to 60 minutes tomorrow and it's 0-0, then I'll be really pleased.